We're going to paint some simple figures now, and I'm going to give you some photo references to look at. We're going to go through how to choose a photo. So as we look at some of these, let's see which ones will be good ones. Now this one is nice bright light and defined shadows, and if I didn't need the whole rest of her body, this would work really well. This one, very defined light, and the shadow shapes are working very well. I can see them very clearly. I can even see the soft edges and the hard edges. Soft edges here, hard edges there. So I could see that, and that would be a very good one to do. This one, we've got sun shining, so we've got some good edges here, and we can see those shadows. Now, these pants all look dark. Don't let that fool you. Art is a kind of a play between what you think and what you know, and you've got to keep working around some things. So I know that the sun is shining, and I know that this vest must be casting a shadow here, but if that foot is in the light, at least some part of that leg is in the light. And if I am trying to figure that out and I can't see it in a photograph, if I had this on the computer, I could play with the levels and see if I could figure it out. I can shine a flashlight on it, and look, I can see, I don't know if you can see that there. Let me see if I can lift it up to the camera. I know that's got a reflection there. Just below that reflection, can you see the shadow of the hand on the pants? And then you can see the shadows and the wrinkles. So the easiest thing on this would likely be to scan that into the computer, or look on my computer if it's one I've taken, and play with the levels and make sure that I can see that, so that I can get all of those things in there. Also, if you'll notice, that was taken from this photograph, and this is in the center spot of my photo, which is the sweet spot. Anything that you start getting out towards the edges, or if you take a photo that's full length, it starts distorting things when it's not in that sweet spot there, so that you can get some really awkward looking people. They could look very short or very weird, so try to get people in that sweet spot, and then afterwards you can crop and zoom in. This one is a really nice one. I can actually see that. His jeans aren't so dark that I can't see the shadows, and the shapes of those shadows are really nice. The shirt has the same problem though, so we might have to play with that and see if we can find that on the shirt, but that one's nice and stark. Again, sunlight. Sunlight is best for this. Cute little baby. You can see the shadow of the hat, and on the body and the legs, one leg in shadow, one leg in light, and you can see where it turns. Shadow on this side, shadow on that side. Same again here. So when you see these kinds of things and you're out taking photographs, although you take great photographs when you have an obscured light and it's a cloudy day, for painting, a bright sunshiny day is best. Now I have a few of this scene here. Now he is very active and everything's very clear. This would make a fun painting because you can see that. Let's look at her right now. Very long and thin, and you can see her in a few different shots. This one, she's kind of bending one leg, but you can't tell that as well. This one, she's just standing there. It's not as interesting, but look at her with her feet tipped up here. That one would be the most interesting of all of them to do. So that would be one that I would choose to do, and I would choose to do one like this. But sometimes you have to like sort through and figure out what will really make a good painting, and choose those. Now let's look at these. Again, this was a cloudy day. On this one I can see some shadowing here, and I can on that side, but it's not as well defined, the shadowing here. So although I could do this one, it might be a little bit more difficult. These parts are a little bit easier, but this one would lend itself better to one that is not just simple with two different values, but with more detail to it. Okay, he's in bright sun. He's got these shadows. This one's going to be more complicated because you've got detail in there, right? his face only has a little bit of shadow shapes on it in the ears and on here, so you're not going to have near as much detail. Cute knees though, huh? I like that one. And this one, this isn't daylight, this is inside light, but managed to capture a cute little expression, and the light is very well defined. You can see the shadow shapes and everything here. So we're going to do some simple figures, but we're going to be a little bit more detailed than the faces that we did. We're still going to use 2 values, but with this one I'm going to start with a pencil so that I can make sure that I have my proportions correct. And we're also going to add a little bit more color in here. So on this one, if we check this size of this head and we bring that size down, 1, 2 is at the crotch, a third one is at the back of this foot just above that one. So about 1 head, we need 1, 2, 3, 4, and that is the height of her. If I take that same dimension and turn it sideways, I can turn my picture, I can see where does 1 head fit. Aha, about right there is about 1 head where she's the largest. So that just kind of helps give me a little guideline. So I'm just going to make a head. Now I'll take that down, 1, 2, that's about where her crotch is there, 3, and that is about where the heel of the 1 foot is, and the other one is just below that. Now I'm going to take that measurement, and just like in our photograph, I'm going to turn it sideways here, and that's about the hips. Okay, I'm going to be real simple, and I'm going to be a little bit light. I'm trying to see if you can see that. You can kind of see it. I don't want to be real dark on this because I want the painting to show up. Now on babies, although they have skinny necks, you don't always see them. I'm going to go right here to this center part where this little zipper is. And that zipper kind of comes down here, doesn't it? It ends. Got a little bit going on there. Now remember, this is where that headline was, so this part of the foot is below that. So I'm going to add that part of the foot below. And if you are unsure and you feel like putting some tracing paper on something to trace it till your drawing gets a little bit more confident, you could always do that. One thing you can do is double check the levels of things. So when I come up with my pencil, I hit the left foot first and then the right, or at least that's what it is in the photo. It would be a little bit opposite. For her, it's her right and my left. Right? So little feet. Now this is not like a big, this would be small on your painting, right? Not like big on your painting. I'm making it much bigger than normal so that you can see this as I'm doing it. Cute little diaper. You can tell that makes her body bigger there. And then we're going to simplify that hand. This is actually becoming more complicated than simple, and that's what happens when you make it bigger. So maybe I shouldn't have made it bigger for you. Hopefully it doesn't stress you out. Now, babies' faces are different as far as the proportion that you get here. If I went from the top of the skull down to the eyes and then followed that down, that would be a much larger face. The whole bottom part of their face and their mandibular joint or jaw is not yet developed. So they've got tiny little features there. So we're going to see if we can see what we can do. Those little fingers block that hand out. Okay, let's see, and I feel like I need to get that head a little bit bigger. That's a little bit better. I also need to move the arm over. First time you do things, it's not always right. And adding that fabric there works out well. All right, let's see. We are also going to try, let's do this guy. I'm going to put him right here. Now, if I put that hat here, and I put this face above it, notice that the height of the face is almost the same as the height here. So I can go up just a titch, and I'm simplifying that face. Got this coming down here. And this part of the back, see where that helmet is? It's coming down. This part of his back is coming out farther. Now, let's take that measurement there. And if we come down in the center, 1, 2, and maybe a third. 1, 2, and about a third. That is about where our vest ends. So, and then let's see, 1, 2, let's try it this way. 1, 2, and I think I used a different measurement. I'm going down a little bit too far. Look at that. Bring that up here. There's our third, and I'm going to keep counting. So 3, which is where that little crease is. 4, 5 is just below the foot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So, oops, it needs to be above that because it was just below. All right. Okay, when I remeasured, I like the lower one better. I should also take the width. So, about there at the shoulders is about the same, and that width is either wider or narrower. So, I actually had a lot of fun doing some oil paintings of this. Construction workers with that bright orange is really fun with oil paint. We'll see what it's like with watercolor, but we'll have some fun with this. So his vest is coming forward, but his sleeve, not so much. Now a lot of this is going to be in shadow, but we're going to block that hand out. It's in his pocket. Oh, it was at 3, not at 4 that had the little. Okay, now this one's coming over here. That foot comes down below. Yeah, that feels a little bit weird, but I think when we paint it, it will look just fine.